like it's 7 o'clock.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dehydrated wisdom and pains. McMillan Fire District, 19 hard hours.
Thank you.
Okay. Everyone's had a chance to go over the meeting, or the minutes from last month's meeting. We have a motion to approve. Motion. Mike, do we have a second? Mike. Any discussion, changes, additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Bill, what have you got? Treasurer's report?
Yes. Are we ready? Okay. Let's do first, single page spreadsheet for codes. That still hasn't been integrated into the new system yet. But at the top is the checking account from January to March 31st. Our balance in the checking is $1,297.95. Balance in the savings, $9,610.96. New York class account has $82,027.78 for a grand total in codes $92,936.69. And there are no vouchers this month in code. Okay, tonight we have 53 district vouchers, 12 credit card vouchers, and no codes vouchers. So if you look at the 17-page packet, or 17 size, we're getting there. The front page, the first 1, 2, 3 pages is actual against the budget. And if you'll notice, I'm attempting to number each of the categories. There's still work to be done there. So like all the 34 10.4s have an extra few digits on the end so that we can keep them different, or they can be pulled up separately. But I have to work on those. Okay, there's one change on page 3. Middle of the page says 9710.7C interest on T2. That should not be $9,275. It should be $4,637.50. The middle column is the budget of $9,275. That is correct. And over to the right should be a minus sign and then $4,637.50. And I remind you again, for some reason, the minus sign is good. The plus sign is bad in that column. So pretty much that report is coming out like the one you're using. Page 4, 5, and 6 is the comparison. On page 4, you'll see at the bottom where all of the paid paid part-timers have deleted after their name. That's done by the person doing the conversion. so that their amounts don't show up there. It's going to show up as a total payroll expense. You can always ask for or get if you want to see what an individual got. But that's comparing this year's to last year's. 4, 5, and 6, okay. Now on page 7. The bank account pages are not on the first page like we used to. I printed out on page 7 the New York class account. What I want to draw your attention to again is the codes account. It has $82,227.78. 20,000 of that is the codes savings account. That you had me move 20,000 into that account, but the rest, 62,000, is the bequeath money. Page 8 is the M&T bank accounts. They go along with tonight's vouchers or tonight's bank statements. Page 9, permissive referendums has been updated as of today. We dropped the one chief's vehicle one. Page 10 is the principal and interest payments. And you can see the only payment so far is the one in March 15th, the interest payment. That's the one we just changed a little earlier there, $4,637.50. Page 11, service awards. After today, I don't know what it's going to be, but as of March 31st, we're still over $1 million. 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 are tonight's vouchers. There's not that many, there's only 53, but it prints it out differently than what we're used to. On page 12, you'll see the top payroll expenses, but the firehouse payroll. Those are the 3 payments that went to firehouse payroll, one in March, 2 in April, and it gives a total of $68,312. That's how much payroll was for those 3. And down below, you'll see now that it shows 0, not meaning they're not getting anything, it's just not showing on this report. But it gives the total there of $24,436.17.
So how do we know how much firehouse payroll is costing?
Oh, okay. That should be under... Payroll services, no, that's not it. Excuse me a minute. I'm going to fix that one. It would be under payroll services administration fee on page 2.
Page 2, but that
But that obviously is the wrong number. $26,304.24 since January. No, that's not right. But that's where it'll show up. It's also in the 3 figures. Okay, wait a minute. On page 12 now, after 12, the 3 firehouse payroll figures, it's in those figures. and I'll have to make sure to take that out. That, like $150, I don't have it here. It's less than 200 each paycheck.
But are we getting a voucher for them and we're paying them a check?
Yes, but no, we don't pay them a check. What, they're doing it different than paycheck. It's included in that money that they take out to pay the employees. But they do send a voucher, you'll see them in here.
Okay.
Is that for the quarterly
Yes,
that they mailed us?
I don't know.
You know, that, because they sent a report in the mail that gave a quarterly breakdown
Oh.
for everybody. Is it included in that?
It should be.
Okay, is that something that we could provide?
Oh, yeah, and you'll see it on the vouchers in here. Firehouse payroll, here's for April, it was $150.
So there-
Excuse me?
So there is a voucher that has.
Yes, yep, it just didn't print on me. Firehouse payroll for March 21st was $148.
Okay,
And for,
okay, just double checking.
yeah, okay. The state report is finished and sent to the state. That's the one I got the extension to do instead of March 1st. It was May 1st, but it's done now and sent. Service awards are progressing. Conversion to the QuickBooks Online is also progressing, slowly, but progressing. And the auditor has started to request some paperwork, so he's, now that the tax season is over, he's ready to work on that. Okay, I'm keeping track of it, and it didn't show yet on here, of the paid firefighters' hours, and I'm calling it their training hours, not their training. I mean, what do we want to call that when they're doing, training the individuals? What's it called?
Instruction?
Instruction?
Instruction.
Instruction?
Sometimes it's their training, sometimes it's their doing instruction, so it's both.
Okay. I need a heading.
It's outside of work hours.
So that I can split the money, what went for that and what went for work here.
What did we call it in the
Yeah.
budget?
We need, yeah, it's called professional services in the budget, but it's not really professional services.
Okay.
But that's where we were putting it.
But I have that on a spreadsheet though, so whenever we come up with it, where we're putting it, I can put that there. And
President, U.S. County Personnel for 1454, West Tennessee Road off Riverhead Drive, Washington Lane, East Park. A 4-month deal.
Do you need that tonight, or is that something where you can ask the chief?
oh no, we don't need it tonight. I don't need it tonight, no. Okay, that's, I say, I have it on a spreadsheet. It'll be there, if it's next month, it'll still be there. And that's all I think I have on it.
Okay. Any questions for Bill? Nope. Do we have a motion to approve as presented? Mike and Mark? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Voucher approval? Who's got the vouchers tonight?
I move to approve the vouchers and get as presented and audited.
Okay. And I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. So the kid's got the bank statements, huh? Any permissive referendums that we need to close out? I think we did that last month. We do have some?
No, I think we're all set. We did it last month.
Yep. And correspondence.
Commissioner Mike Malone has completed his mandatory commissioner training for this term. We got a letter from Aqua, just more informational. Aqua has made an ongoing effort to provide reliable water service to fire departments operating in our 5-county service territory. They're happy to report that they've operated and or serviced 99% of the 14,146 hydrants during 2024. They're proud to serve over 350,000 residents in 94 fire departments districts throughout central New York, and they appreciate the strong partnership they enjoy to keep central New Yorkers safe. They do offer on-site training for the staff and for the fire departments on how to efficiently access and employ water from their system. The training has been well received in the past and includes detailed information about Aqua water system in our area to promote the transfer of system knowledge and experience. And they have come in to meet with us in the past. So it's just more informational about what Aqua does for the county. And that's all I have.
Chief's report. Do you have that?
Just what's on the agenda.
Just what's on the agenda? Yes, sir. Okay. Do you have anything on your own?
Still working on a lot of the health and safety stuff, so slowly making progress. Hopefully some more stuff will be out here in the next month or so.
Assistant Chief Mel?
Training updates. EMS-wise, all the EMTs that are currently active have completed their mandated reporter training as asked from the powers to be, so that's good for that. Our weekly training, we've been working on our bailouts, we've been working on pre-planning, we're working on first due engine, and also some of our mandatory training. So a lot more time spent in gear, a lot more time spent in SCBA, and we're going to be working on in the future it's a little bit of EVOC, some tidy up on some fire extinguisher training, and continue on with the first due, which then roll right into our anticipated changing out the hose loads, and so we can actually start the new deployment on the new lines for all different engines. So, end of report. Any questions?
Nope. Committee reports. Michael, long term?
We had some further discussions about the future directions of the fire department, fire district. We talked about Station 1, Station 2, and headquarters, the future of all three, and how they're all aging, and also talked about vehicles for sale that will be going up. Also scheduled a meeting with the town supervisor that Kit, I, and Chief Gleason had, and he referred us to legislatures to contact. And also we discussed Chief Gleason brought in a map of the district and the different fire stations in existence. So it was an overall good meeting. A lot to cover.
Very good. New truck committee, Mark?
New truck committee, we have been in contact with the vendor. We are looking at a tentative date. I believe I brought this up at the last month, July 15th through the 18th. It'll be a Tuesday through Friday to go out and inspect the new apparatus. Tentative.
What's that?
It would be July 15th through the 18th.
That's for you to go inspect it or bringing it here?
Me to fly out. Me and a couple of
Anything else? Anything on the sale of the apparatus?
For the sale, I've had 2 recent inquiries on the old engine 21. One from Howe Fire in Indiana, and another one in Texas. They requested some more updated photos of the inside, which I forwarded on to them, and I have not heard anything back yet. I will be on the phone this week to contact our 2 vendors to start listing of the other 2 apparatus. Get those started.
Very good.
I've got something here. I spoke to Mark briefly. When we ordered the second rescue pumper, we authorized Diane to sign the contract, change orders, and delivery.
And yourself,
No, in the minutes, it's just Diane.
because there was always 2.
Huh?
There was always 2.
Yeah, I went back and looked at the minutes, and all I found was,
And minutes don't lie. Go for it.
yeah. So, at any rate, I think we need to update that. And any, also any change orders that are signed, I think should come to the board and coordinated with the chief. So, it just brought that to our attention that Diane's authorized to sign, and she's no longer a commissioner.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion on that, or?
Matt's speech was the other signer, I believe, on the first one.
Okay.
And I don't think you have to be on the board unless it's just because it's property or money.
Okay. So I think we'll keep it on the board, and I move that we have Mark take over that position. That anything, as Kit said, any change orders need to come before the board. But other than that, you got it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you're making that motion?
Made the motion.
I'll second.
Mike seconded it. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstention.
1 abstention. Okay. Legislative Public Safety met Tuesday.
On the truck still, somebody brought something to us and we should have maybe done it before. The pumper, I'll just call it the pumper that we have at headquarters. If it's totaled, I think it's at 50 grand is the value. It doesn't leave the building, and it was mentioned to reduce our insurance coverage on it because we're not driving it. Just like if you put a car in storage, we'd save a big.
What would happen though if I get a vendor that does fly out and he wants to take it for a test drive?
Yeah.
That would be my only concern.
Right.
I would talk to the insurance agent on that, but it's been parked for a year.
Yep.
We can redo, because I think it's insured for replacement cost. If we're not replacing it, we can
Exactly.
reduce that to a lower value.
Right.
Which
But I don't know that it would
was
save us
told
a ton, but.
50 grand. And realistically, because we just lowered the cost of it to 50 grand,
Right.
having it insured for 400 is probably not worth it. And you may, if you got a test driver, there may be some way to make that happen with the insurance company. But that was basically the insurance company's suggestion. Could save a lot of money with stuff that we can park back there if it's not going to potentially be sold or be on the road.
Right.
That's not your decision, Mark, that's the
Nope.
board's.
Yep.
All right, so we'll look into see what the reduction is and some sort of insurance reduction on that.
Do you want to make a motion to reduce it? Otherwise, we're waiting another month.
Yeah, I'll make the motion and look into it, and if it's feasible, reduce it.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion on that? No? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Anything else? No? Okay. Life Center Public Safety met Tuesday, April 15th at the Plainville Fire Department Station. We worked on the social media policy, SOG. A lot of great discussion was had regarding the policy and other events that are happening in the town. So again, like I say, everybody's welcome to attend. Next meeting is going to be next month. Where are we meeting?
May 20th.
May 20th? Okay.
GBAC.
Yep, May 20th, GBAC. Beautiful. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Budget and finance.
I've been working on the timeline. It's early out, so I'll get the timeline out sometime this month.
IT committee, we're moving along with that. I think all of the computers have been shipped where they go now. Personnel,
We talked last month about filling the 3 positions, and we're almost ready. Hopefully within the next week, we'll have the 3, and I'll notify the commissioners when we make those offers.
Will you, and I think this is how we did it in the past, if you come up with 3 that you recommend, you kick it to the 5 of us.
Yeah.
If we approve it or are okay with it, you go ahead at that point and hire.
Yes.
So we word it that way. So we're not waiting another month.
okay, very good. Truck maintenance, anything else? Matt?
Truck maintenance. As of now, engine 11 is out for its repair. Been sent back to Buffalo. Should be out for about a week. Ladder 1, a 4-inch discharge was stuck at a 60 PSI to gauge. That is on order, and that will be coming in. We're talking about truck maintenance. Also, Caretaker Harrison was notified that May 15th, they would like to do from crown undercoating, start the pressure washing underneath all the apparatus to get all the salt and everything else now because of the heavy winter that it went through. And then they will be coming back in June or July to do the actual undercoating. But they just want to come in now and get their wash done so we get all the salt off and everything.
I believe they use a chemical when they do that. It's not
Neutralize
just-
it.
Yeah.
That is all I have on truck maintenance.
Building maintenance.
Building maintenance, all right. In front of you, we have a couple of quotes for the driveway repair out here on the apron of Station 1. I've contacted a couple groups. One is Salt Springs Paving. He is on the bid list. They had 2 different quotes. As you see the maps attached. One at $31,500. That is just putting in another catch basin and connecting it to the current catch basin and just patching a little bit of the area, which would be 2,275 feet of asphalt repair. That is their first quote. The second quote would be $78,000, almost $79,000, and that would also be doing the catch basin, connecting it to the current one, but also repaving the whole front portion of the driveway because of all the cracks and spider cracks and everything else that we have going on out front. That was their recommendation. So then I called for another one, Rustin Paving Company, and they came up with 2 different quotes. One to do, it's almost like a French drain instead of a catch basin itself. They're gonna dig it under, put a pipe down so it catches the water underground and feeds it to the catch basin. And patch just that general area. That was at $44,750. Or the other one would be resurface also the whole thing and doing the same thing with adding a pipe underground, catching the water under the ground that's causing it to freeze or heave. And then that was at $66,750. So those are the two quotes that we have for the repair of the driveway. And I bring those to the board to discuss in which way we would like to proceed on this. We've tried tampering it down and everything else. It's so soft up there that you try to drive anything on it, it just sinks right down. That's how bad that area is up there, where those cones are.
Did they both feel that the solution that they're offering would take care of the problem?
They can't guarantee it 100%. I don't think anyone could, but it would alleviate a lot of the water that's, I mean, even in the wintertime comes, you get the water that's coming up there. And so if they can catch it into a pipe drain and get it down there, it would keep that water from coming up. That's their theory behind it.
So they're basically putting in a dry well and then just running from the dry well over to the existing catch basin. Just moves it from above surface to below surface.
And this driveway's been an ongoing issue for many, many years. Chasing it. And we patch it. We've never done this extreme with the extra pipe going underneath. We've always just dug it up, patched it, and lived with it. But now they're looking at adding the pipe drain. Like I said, Salt Springs, they're on the county bid. Ruston, we used them previously in the past. So those were the two proposals I got.
So do you think that the lesser quote for each, the $44,750 for Ruston and the $31,426 for Salt Spring, are they very similar? What's the difference between the two?
One of them's going to be installing the Salt Springs. They said that it's actually going to be a catch basin up in the front, but that's really not going to catch the water. Unless you put more drain pipes all the way around it in order to get the water into that catch basin.
Doesn't make sense putting a catch basin at a well.
Right.
It's already catching it.
Yeah. So what we need to do is like a drainage, French drain type, and just put a pipe there with a bunch of stone and let that water ease into it. Just like around your house, if you had one around your house, and just let it divert right down to that other catch basin.
So are you saying that perhaps the Ruston proposal is...
It looks like a better choice. It looks like a better choice of what they plan on doing.
Right.
Again, putting a catch basin in there is not, you've got the water there already. You need to just have it travel down to the existing catch basin.
Yep. But do we want to go further and have that driveway patched out there? I mean, how long of a long term are we looking out in the future wise for this place? I mean, that's the question. I mean, the driveway up there is cracking pretty good. It does spider crack a lot up there. You get a lot of traffic in the wintertime with your plows turning around in here. We now have transportation of the school buses parking in here waiting for the school. So it does get a lot of use and a lot of heavy equipment.
How long ago was the last repair?
I'm really not quite sure. I don't know. Amy, would you know how long ago we did that last patch, roughly? Yeah.
I think
I want to say it was,
Yeah.
So the repair was more so in front of Susan Base. That was it. I don't think the outer area has ever been.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it may be original. Who knows?
Well, if we go with Salt Springs, they're on county bid.
Yep.
But if we go with Ruston, they're not, so we would have to publicly bid the job. It doesn't mean that Salt Springs can't also
Come back in and give you a
bid,
different.
but,
Yep.
isn't that right, Amy, that we would have to do that?
I think overall, the Ruston paving option is the better choice.
What's the, so Ruston's giving you 5,000 square feet. What is Salt Springs? What's the surface that they're looking to?
For the 31,000, asphalt repair is square footage. Where's that square footage here? Hang on. 2,275 square foot.
All right. So Ruston's doing double?
Yeah.
Well, yes, because in Ruston, the two different quotes for 44 would be doing that area. Right here. Just that area, not doing that whole thing. If you go up to 66, then it's covering all this.
But I'm looking at this right here, 5,000 square feet.
Yes, yep. Yeah, it's double the square footage than what? This one's Ruston.
This is Ruston here.
Yeah, and then this and that
Our Salt Springs.
are Salt Springs. Yeah. So Salt Springs doing this whole great big lot for 70 something, or that one down there for the less, but then that's putting a catch basin in. But that's not, you're gonna have concrete all around it, so water's not gonna get into it. Unless you, then you're gonna have to
That's
repitch
where
the
the
whole
bulk
driveway.
of that's the bulk of where the driveway's all
Right.
in
Plus all
rough
this
shape.
comes off the road.
Yeah.
So if you look, see how he's got it broken down. Full depth construction, mill and grade, that's everything here. Install drain wall, okay. Tape.
The full depth is the higher one.
Yeah.
Which is mill,
Yeah, this one's gonna be mill,
milling.
grade and pave.
Yep.
And this one would be a full depth reconstruction. So,
Yeah, they're doing
depending,
that.
it'd be like a patchwork on this, or you go to the full mill and grade and pave.
Right, so they're putting stone down on the first one. They're removing more.
And on the second one, we're putting fine grade,
Yes.
fine stone base. There's a difference between the RLC stone base and stone base.
Is there any thought to squaring this off? And, I mean, we consistently have people who cut across here and cut across that little bit of lawn that's wet. And, you know, is there any possibility that we could just, you know, run that right straight out to the road and include that little area?
Probably could.
I mean,
It wouldn't take, I mean, if they're milling this already, they're gonna mill it all. I mean, that's only like 5 feet roughly.
yeah, well, not very much. but
No.
It's just that it's kind of a ongoing problem.
Yes, here. Okay. This right here.
Yeah, I'm thinking just, you know, like,
So that's, either you're gonna get the full depth reconstruction, or you're gonna get mill grade and pave.
oh,
driveway.
All this
access
stuff will
to
be
the
on
road.
top of the line stuff.
That might be right,
Just like patch
but it
stuff.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's what
And I'm sure the
looking
town would believe that.
at. Either way, they're doing that whole,
You're doing
they're doing the whole
5,000,
thing. They're doing 5,000 square feet either way. It all just depends on the finish type of what we're
No,
gonna
you're
get.
either gonna go 6
So it looks
inches,
like
you're gonna go
we-
4 inches.
Yep.
Need to put it out for bid?
Kind of looks that way.
For that type of money, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when we do that, we can use,
A little more specific.
What?
A little more specific on what we want.
yeah, we can be more specific and we can use some of this language.
Yep. Yep.
So I guess I make the motion, we go out to bid for repair of the blacktop in front of Station 1.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay.
And then one other thing on building. This was a quote that we have for repairing the washing machine, gear washing machine down at Station 2. That was in your email earlier today. I don't think anyone's seen this. I just got it today. For $2,000, we need to replace the electrical panel at Station 2's gear washer. That he finally got the actual quote back, and that's the price of how much it is to replace that digital control pad.
2,000?
Yep, 2,043. I'll give you this. It's in that regular kit. And that's all I have on building maintenance at this time.
Is that a motion to go ahead and have that washer repaired?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second? Mike? Any discussion?
We'll get on that tomorrow. Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
You send that back to Mark.
Thank you.
Alright. Fire prevention, Mark?
Nothing at this time.
Okay.
Nothing on this plumbing for washer dryer here?
I had a couple people come in and give estimates. This one is kind of like out of the ballpark. I had another Wilkins Mechanical that was out of contract. They come in. They said the plumbing would be a breeze, but the electrical, since we don't have 220 out into the, I was hoping we could tag off the 220 from the dryer, and they said we can't. So I have to get a couple of electrical contractors in to run a line. And then the guy took a look at our two panels, and they're all full. So if we need to run a sub panel, so we'll have to get an electrician to see what we can do, because we have to run 220 out for the dryer. But the washing machine will be no problem to hook into the drain and get that going. But
What about that plot with the washer and dryer combination that you spoke of that didn't need 220?
yeah. I've talked to a few people, and the amount of negative sides to it outweigh the pluses, even though it would be a low-use machine, and it's I don't think Chief, you've had any experience with it, for one? And I know, John, you've heard some bad things about it. I hate to buy something and have it down more than it's up, but if we're going to have something here for the career guys, I'd rather do it right for them and not have any downtime. So
we're not doing anything with this.
we're not doing anything with that one. I'm still chasing contractors.
Anything else? Trying to get into the training stipend?
Well, I sent everybody a draft. This is very much a draft. I didn't hear anything back from anyone, so I don't know what the feelings are. I did, the chief basically said that he didn't feel that we should offer stipends for everything. He only wanted to offer stipends for training that was, that basically support our mission.
That was going to be my question. Is this a photocopy of everything the state approves? Or was this you're in the chief's decision on what you wanted to approve? And I think you just answered it with the chief saying some of the stuff he didn't want.
So the state program is not included in our program. And the state program only has a very few courses. We have more courses, but only courses that the chiefs felt would forward our mission. Does that answer?
Well, I'm not sure. I guess I'd be curious on why we would want a certified first responder course for this department when you're either an EMT or not. Don't you want to push everybody for EMT?
Well, I guess. That's why I bring it.
Well, that's why I asked
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And I think it's very difficult to get the certified first responder unless you're a municipal department. They've kind of gone away from those, if I understand it right.
So you have a question about the certified first responder and the refresher and the court content refresher. All three of those?
For those that don't know what it is, it's half of the EMT.
Yeah. At one time, it was a favorite thing. A lot of people did it, but it hasn't remained very popular because if you got to go to all the training for to be a CFR, you might just as well do the EMT.
Has the chief's office gone through these courses and said yea or nay to them?
Yes, he's the one that
Okay. So we put these together?
said, here's the ones that are approved and also a list on one page here, approved courses on case-by-case basis. So, he would have to give approval. He has to give approval anyway, but for the other courses, it's pretty well cut and dried. For the case-by-case basis, it would be just that, based on And I did include in the email some different options. Just for information.
Thoughts on it?
The caps you mentioned, are they at the caps per course or caps per the person?
Per course. Just like with the state program, they can do, like fire officer, they can get $1,000 from fire officer. They can get $750 for exterior. You only do it once. You can't do it more than once.
It's at that course. You can't repeat the course, is what
Right,
you're saying.
can't repeat the course. And that would be the same case for us.
I think it's a good idea. I think that before we go ahead with this, that this has to be changed.
What's that?
Certified first responder?
No. You can't name anybody in this.
What?
You can't name anybody in this.
That's not.
No,
part of the
that's
policy.
not even, no. No, these are just options to consider. Wouldn't be part of our program. Just helping us make a decision. That's all.
All right, what's your pleasure?
I think it's a good incentive to try for the membership. I'd be in favor of it.
And they have to supply, excuse me, they have to apply to the state first, right?
Well, you would have to apply to the course and be accepted and then complete.
You can only get reimbursed from one or the other.
Right.
Right.
But it's to our benefit that they apply to the state first. And if they get rejected, then we reimburse it.
Yeah, but the state only covers so many of the classes here, from what it looks like.
And they're not
And then-
included in our program.
Right.
All of ours are not in the state,
No.
so ours are in addition to what the state is.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the state's the first two,
Yes.
first page front and back. And then Belgium is from 2 beyond. Do we have a motion? Mark's got the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Do we have discussion
They
now?
have to figure out the amount.
Yeah, we have to look at the back page for the
Yeah,
options.
we have to.
Yeah, so one of the things that, I took all the classes that were taken last year and add them all up, and if we give for each course up to 5 hours, if we give them $125, each course between 6 and 10 hours is $200, and then over 10 hours, $500. And then that was one option. Another option was because when you look at up to 5 hours, if they did a 2-hour class, it would be $125, and that seems quite generous.
Yeah.
So I was thinking if we said up to 10 hours, $125, 11 to 20, $200, and over 20 hours, $500. That seemed to make more sense. And then I did a third option. The third option, basically, instead of a max of 500, it was a max of 400 for 20 hours. It seemed like the second option was more reasonable and yet still fair to the member. John, did you have a chance to look at it? What did you think?
So you're suggesting that people are gonna take the classes. Okay, so what if we get another 10 or 15 or 20 people? As soon as I tell everybody out there in the world that they can make some money off this department, they join as members, correct? They take the classes, you pay them. There's nothing in here that says anything like in good standing or going calls or staying on the department. They can literally breeze in here, do classes, be excused from everything because they're in classes, and disappear again and make the money. What's your incentive to keep in here as a Belgium Cold Springs Fire Department member and serve the community that you're paying money out of? Nothing in here says you've got to start being good standing for a year before you're eligible for the program, or you have to stay a year afterwards. It was mentioned before about EMS programs. They can jump in, make the program, and then get out again. That's my thought on that one. And especially if you're paying them, I said, to be great, I'll join from out-of-district member. I promise to serve, and I'm sorry I'm busy in classes. Make the money be gone. They'll never see them again.
I think the concept, at least my thought, was the chief's got to approve it. And if somebody comes in and is not active and it looks like they're just adding up hours, he doesn't sign off on it.
Still got to buy them gear ahead of time. And someone who joins this department, you have to buy them gear. Then they're going to have to serve. There's a cost involved with the physical and getting them in the department and everything else like that. And they may do exactly what they need to, and it'd be awesome. But again, I just think there should be somewhere in here that says you got to do something for the community you're, serving, besides just serving yourself.
You need to have some buy-in.
Correct. I wouldn't pay, I said in my mind, I said we're the only ones who are doing this in the community and the actual Onondaga County. So you shouldn't have to pay anybody that much at all, if anything. And again, does that cover the cost of their fuel and when they go back and forth to classes and other things too? I take a class, so I get the book, you pay me my fuel, and then you're going to pay me for the class? Just things to keep in mind. I love the idea of the program.
Just from another point of view, it happened at the hospital, huge. It happened at the hospital, and nurses were doing that and then jumping ship as soon as they got their degree or whatever. So they said you had to be there 3 years or whatever before you could even think about going on. And then they made them stay, I think, a couple years after, because that's what was happening. And they say that how much money they put into orienting and, everything. So John's right. It's a big investment.
They have to have a certain amount of time that they have to stay after they've taken a class in order to get paid. And maybe you don't pay until after they've been here as a member in good standing for a 6-month review. And if they went to class and then they booked it, or they just basically said, well, I'm not going to do those 10% of calls, I'm not going to do the duty crew, I'm not going to do drills because I went to class. You owe me money because that's what your program says. So you have to put some requirements in there. Do they get paid right when they finish the class, Or do they get paid after they've been here another 6 months? They've put in the correct amount of at least 10% of calls or enough duty shift hours and drills, or what? Because otherwise, like John said, they're gonna come in and they're gonna skip.
Well, it'll be a burden. It'll be a burden to the chief. It'll be additional signatures and monitoring and stuff like that. It'll be a burden to the officers, people coming in, getting them gear. Amy obviously will deal with the in and out. We're hoping to incentivize the people that are already here. It may work, and it's great. But overall, I think there should be, they said it should be minimal and it should be a cap. If you go to classes, it should be because you want to learn versus you're getting paid to go do it.
I withdraw my motion to table it for another month.
Okay, so come back with some
Updated.
qualifications,
Yes.
rules.
Minimums and requirements.
In the last part here, it says New York State caps the amount at $500. Well, is that $500 per year? Is that $500 per, it's the last page in the last sentence at the very top.
No.
It's New York caps the amount at 500, so is that?
New York tells fire districts that the cap is 500. We can't give 600 or 800.
Right.
We can give up to 500.
For New York State.
Yeah, maybe I didn't state that too good, but
Is it a one
yeah.
time, is it a one-time deal?
No,
So-
no. If someone took
Per person.
pump ups,
Yeah.
Over 20 hours, you know, you get.
so they take pump ups and it's over 20 hours, they get $500.
Right.
If they turn around and take
Another class over
another
20 hours?
class
Over
of 20 hours, they'll get another
Another
500.
500. So there's no cap?
No, it's just what they can write out per course.
Then if you take that, you take some of these classes, and you walk up to the college, you're gonna walk out with a 2-year degree that Belgium just paid for, and you never step foot on the campus. Those are transferable classes.
Okay, so back to the drawing board. Good idea. Thoughts? We'll,
No, I didn't.
Okay.
thank you.
We discussed additional staffing, you're looking at that. We've got new business, active membership application for Ed Moore.
Did you skip over the community risk reduction division?
Yeah, looks like they did, doesn't it?
On the agenda,
Anything on the community risk reduction position?
I don't know. Mike, we had some emails going back and forth today. Are you ready to do that, or are we?
I think we should look into it a little bit more. Chief is not here. I'd like some more clarification on how we're going to get the position, bring the position forward. There's a lot of ambiguity, a lot of stuff that is a little above my head at this point between the position description and how it's worded and where the money's going. So I'd like to table that for another month.
Okay.
I'll second table it. I'll second table it.
Okay.
I have some of the same questions, concerns, I guess.
All in favor on tabling it? Opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Looks like we've got a new active membership application for Ed Moore. Any discussion on that? Do you have a motion to approve Ed Moore pending his physical?
I make a motion.
Mike and Mike? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
We've got a central region meeting next Monday, April 28th.
Yes, at Maggie Dale.
I'll mention that. And I need to know by Wednesday who is going. I know Charlie said he's going, Amy and I are going. Let me know if anybody else is going.
Do we have any public comments tonight?
We had them during the night.
Yeah.
They were free flow during the night.
Yeah. Okay, so we conducted our member review and went through on a person by person, number by number report. We'll be going into executive session to discuss the outcome of that. We have a motion for executive session? It's going to be number G.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Tax refund.